Hi, everyone.
Hey,
I'm Alicia,
and I'm Meredith.
and this is Summer is Fun, a Summer House podcast, season 7, episode 13. It's the sixth. It's fun, I guess. It's drama, but it's not fun. Can I give a thought really quick at the beginning?
Yeah, give it to
I think
us.
I hate this drama because Summer House is supposed to be about like a house of friends, that
Mm-hmm.
party, and like I want them to fight, but like I want them to talk it through. Like Vanderpump
I want
Rules,
it to be petty fights.
yeah, Vanderpump Rules, I don't care if they never speak again because like they don't have to live together, but this is a
Mm-hmm.
show about friends. And so it like pains me that there's like an
It's
ending of a friend, that it's like serious drama. Like it pains
and
me.
like two best friends. Like there's
Yeah,
always like two groups in the house, or like certain people don't get along, so you expect those like rifts. But for two people who have been best friends for so long, I don't know, it's just been jarring all
this
summer. Like they
hurts.
haven't gotten along at all this summer. So
It
it's
hurts me a
it just
lot.
there's a lot happening this season, and I don't like it.
I'm hurt and my feelings are valid. Anyway,
Feelings are
before we
valid.
get into it, check us out on the A&M Podcast Network. We have this podcast. We have It's About the Pasta Vanderpump Rules podcast, and we have One Season Wonders. Please be sure to rate, review, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at Vanderpasta. I'm not doing tweets for Summer House anymore because like it's fucking rough
It's
out
too
here.
deep.
It's so deep. Just like how come no one's talking about how like Chris is so stupid in the background? Like that's the shit I want to see.
Yeah.
Whatever, but maybe I'll check again, see if it's funny. And join our Patreon, patreon.com/Vanderpasta. Let me tell you what you can get. For $1 a month, you get access to all of our really fun pre-shows that Meredith and I do before the show. And also you get access to any episodes we record early, including this one. For $2 a month, you get access to everything I just mentioned. Plus, when we go back and we watch old seasons, we'll do an after show. So we can talk about Bravo News as to not give spoilers on the podcast. And also we'll say your name on the podcast. So thank you too. I just did it and now it's loading. There we go. Okay. Thank you to Chris, Danae, Darby D, Dustin, Gabriella, Aisha, Jackie, Jamie, Casey, Katie, Kelsey, Chrissy, Lauren, Sarah, Cameron, Tierney, Tiffany, Tonette, Tracy, Amy, April, Emily, Gina, Jennifer H, Jennifer T, Kirsten, Ruby, Sarah, Taylor, and Tiffany. Wow, I
Woohoo!
fucking did that. Thank
You
you
crushed
guys.
that. Great job, Alicia.
Thank you so much. Validation is nice. Anyway, for $5 a month, you get access to everything I just mentioned. Plus, for live shows, I will post in the Patreon and you give us your thoughts, questions, opinions, concerns, whatever, and we'll read them on the podcast. Um, she's a surprise every week. I was late, but I did it last night. It was after the episode aired, but it was last night. It was when it premiered. I was there. I feel like this is a fun bit. Like you never know when I'm gonna post. So that's great for everyone. So we have some thoughts. Also, we'll pick a patron of the episode. So this week's patron of the episode is Katie.
Yeah,
So Katie
Katie.
is relatively-ish new, but she's given us some thoughts. She's involved in the Summer House drama. She uses one of my favorite words, ludicrous, because that's a rapper that's also in one of my favorite series, movie series, The Fast and Furious, Luda. So that I just was really into it. Anyway,
I'm glad you loved the wordplay.
any millennial babies, Luda, that was my favorite. Okay, so let's get into thoughts from last week.
Okay.
Okay, so Tyranny said, so here are my comments on the whole Danielle getting pissed off about the engagement. How much do you bet Carl was going to tell her when they had their talk, but then didn't because she screamed in a fucking pillow? I mean, if
Ooh.
it was me, I wouldn't tell her after that reaction because she just proved that she wasn't going to support the engagement. I really hope Carl addresses that with Robert when Robert confronts Carl. Okay, that's a good
Ah,
point. That's a
that,
good, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into
yeah.
it, but that's a
Yeah.
really good point. Okay, Casey said, I just don't understand how someone can be so upset for her two quote unquote best friends are happy and getting married. It's time for Danielle to move past her opinion and just be happy for her friends and quit making it about herself. It's really starting to, okay, and that's the end about the Danielle stuff. Yes. Quick thought on this though. She really didn't get her opinion heard, right? I mean, she did say it, but like,
Yeah.
I get it.
Well,
I
I
see both
think
sides.
Danielle needs to be willing to say her opinion and not have validation with her opinion, just like
Yes.
Lindsay shouldn't need validation with her relationship.
Yes. Okay, Casey also said it's really starting to make sense when Gabby said on Watch What Happens Live that Danielle will have the most to answer for. The other cast can't even celebrate because Danielle is making it all about the fact that she had no clue. But like they were blatantly telling her all season, and she just chose not to believe it because her opinion was it was too fast. She screamed into a pillow when Carl told her that he was shopping. So you think he's going to turn around and say, actually, it's been brought or it's been bought and it's happening next weekend? No.
That's so true.
Sierra's party was so cute. I kept forgetting that she wasn't a New Yorker and started on the show as Luke's friend. She's come a long way. Good for her. Gabby's 29-page PDF is ridiculous. No, disagree. I fucking love it.
I think it's a vibe for the moment we're in. Like, Alicia, remember all those PowerPoints people were doing about their dating history at the end of last year, calendar year? Like, I feel like that is the moment we're in. We are just going above and beyond for all the frills around dating rather than putting our energy into dating.
Yeah, I have to do this still. It's on my list. Chris looks so uninterested every time Kyle and Carl are talking about the engagement. Well, Chris just met him. He doesn't give a fuck about these people.
Yeah, somebody said that this episode, like, oh, you just met him 2 months ago. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't care either. Also, where was Amanda this episode? Taking care of dogs. Andrea's still hot as shit, but just not interested in seeing him and Lexi together. It was cute, her crying about being in love, but I'm just here for Hannah Andrea.
It is kind of hard, but yeah, it is kind of hard to see him like not do all the things that make us swoon.
For Paige, he brought Sierra tears.
No, no, just in general, like him being like a single guy in the house.
Yeah, like being like, who wouldn't want to date him is like what we thought for a long time.
And like, even if he did bring somebody like coffee in the morning, like there's so much else happening around it that that's not the storyline.
Somehow Andrea is not the star. Can you believe?
It's the worst.
Okay, here for Sam and Corey and truly believe they are the future of Summer House. I agree. Bravo better hire me to do the recasting because I know exactly how I want it to go.
I saw a video where Sam was asked if she was going to be at Winter House and she said that she can't comment on it. But like while talking about her and Corey dating, she said that they became official in March. So everybody's just assuming she's on Winter House, but she won't say yes or no. So I'm wondering if she comes midway through.
I bet she comes. They missed each other after one day. She's gonna come.
Hell yeah.
She's coming.
I'm excited.
Okay, last comment by Casey. Okay, forgot to comment on the actual engagement. Again, Danielle stole the show. So cute how nervous Carl was. I feel like it happened so quickly, but it was adorable how Lindsay said yes immediately without waiting for the ring. This is the first time I actually see them as a couple. Like every other time it was like siblings hanging out, and now I see it. Okay, thanks for your thoughts. Let's get into the episode. Before we start, I want to be clear. I stan both Lindsay and Danielle. Yeah. I understand both are very valid with their feelings.
Yeah, with their like initial upsetness.
Yes. I think it's getting to be a lot because there's a friendship. There's not only an engagement, there's a friendship breakup. There's very like minimal communication.
I think their egos are very stressed. I think this episode, both like parties' egos are really in it too.
Yeah, this for like a bunch of almost 40-year-olds, this is a fucking mess.
How are like the Vanderpump people better at communicating right now than Summer House?
I don't know. Maybe that's it, is we're getting Vanderpump vibes on Summer House, and I don't want it. These are supposed to be my adults.
Yes.
This is mom and dad.
Like they can have chaotic moments, but then like they got to talk it out in the next episode.
Okay, we'll get into it. So previously on Summer House, Andrea and Lexi are here. Sam and Corey are in like and making out all the time. Amanda and Sierra are going to go to doctors for their eggs. Carl got a ring. He only told Kyle and Chris, but Maya used context clues and figured out the proposal's coming. Danielle is so upset when she thinks the proposal's coming. And then Carl did propose to Lindsay and she said yes. So we pick up right where we left off, Saturday, 5:51 p.m. Lindsay said yes. She didn't even think she'd get married based off the men she dated. But now she's engaged.
Okay. Yes, I give it to her on the men she's dated, but girlie, you made a whole timeline.
Also, we thought Everett for a little bit was like, for like an episode, we thought Lindsay and Everett were a possibility. Okay.
Yeah.
Paymon was a no. Stravy was a hell no.
Okay, well, not as much as Paymon. Paymon was the real no, this will never go
That
anywhere.
was, I think it's because we saw the beginning and we were like, nah. But Stravy, she was in a full relationship with, and you cannot convince me she liked that man as a person.
But she just wanted to get married.
She hated.
But that's what I'm saying, is her saying like, oh, I never thought I'd get married. Girl, you were going to marry just the bottom of the barrel to get married. Also,
there was a moment when we didn't think it would be Carl either, when he finger banged you.
That is true. There was a lot. There's been a lot. And we get some flashbacks later in the episode.
So back at the house, Kyle's gonna do a toast. He says at this very moment, Carl's down on one knee proposing to Lindsay. So we're not going to the beach. We're gonna go to their engagement party. Cheers to Carl and Lindsay. And on not just Danielle, but like no one seems happy. Everybody's like, oh shit.
Like, whoa, I didn't realize that. And they're not dressed for it in my book either. Like, Daniel makes a comment like, oh, yeah, we're going in jeans to an engagement party. Like, what? Like, everybody's just, I think, very caught off guard here.
Yeah. But then Kyle says my favorite thing. He goes, I don't want to be Sheena, but it's all happening.
Oh my God.
I shat myself. It was so funny. So Danielle says she had no idea. We find out Carl's flying in a bunch of people for the engagement party, and Danielle's upset that she wasn't included. She's upset she almost showed up in dungarees, and Paige goes, what's a dungaree? And Sam goes, jeans, and Paige goes, for the British.
What are your thoughts on when on when Kyle told them? I kind of feel like had he told them like 2 hours ago, or whenever Carl and Lindsay left, I feel like this news would have gone over a little bit better. Not, hey guys, we're actually not going to a bonfire, we're going to an engagement party.
Yeah, it was weird that we were like all ready. We sit down, we're having a drink, and he's like, psych,
punk, like, gotcha.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, we all have to get in the cars now and be totally okay with this.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna say it from the beginning. A surprise engagement party is also the summer house crew was the only ones that were surprised.
Yes.
Everyone else knew. So you could have told these people, like Carl could have done like a mini, like, hey, I'm proposing to Lindsay, everyone, like today. So FYI.
Yeah.
Because I think they should have all gotten a heads up, not just Danielle. Because now this group of people has to change out of their dungarees and fucking go to an engagement party when they thought they were just going to get like blackout drunk off
and
Jello
wipe
shots.
The shock off their face.
Yeah, and be like, oh my God, we can't believe, especially people who have known them a long time. Like, no one's prepared with engagement presents or like balloons for afterwards or like cake even. Yeah. Like, we're not prepared, and boys don't think about these things.
No.
So I think it's wild. Carl didn't tell just the summer house, but everyone else knew.
Yeah.
That was crazy. So, okay. So Danielle's very upset.
That's something that'll give Danielle, where like everybody was processing in this moment. So I give her a break in this moment after it's
I think she definitely needs to process. I don't love how she immediately reacts, but I understand the surprise, because you have to assume that other people know. And was this like just for the show? Like, why did you tell Kyle but not Danielle? Like, I see her thought process kind of getting there.
Me too.
So yeah, she doesn't, now she's like, I don't even know if I'll be invited to the wedding.
Which, like, that I'm like, all right, this is extreme. Like,
yeah.
Rein it in a little.
So Danielle thinks that's why they're upset that she said they were moving too fast, because they already knew. I agree. And again, this is her processing it, right? Yeah. She's just doing it out loud. So fine. Mm-hmm. Danielle's upset. Maya and Gabby give her a hug. Danielle starts crying. She's the most.
I will give her something. Once you start crying,
you can't stop.
The guard is down. Like,
also,
later, I'm like, yeah, you're never gonna stop crying. Like, once you're upset, you're upset.
I also think they've been drinking. So I like Kyle didn't give them the warning to like get ready before. So it's a lot. Yeah. So she upset Carl didn't say anything, calls them assholes. Danielle, then Sierra calls, and Maya runs outside to tell Sierra, but inside, Danielle's like very sad that she was cut out of the entire engagement and says there's nothing left of the friendship. And then in an interview, Danielle says, you know, she was thinking of their friendship for the past 5 summers, I don't know. And she's been rooting for Lindsay, right? Like that was her girl, rooting for Lindsay to find her Prince Charming. Lindsay found her Prince Charming, and now like Danielle's not in it because she feels as if she had an opinion, they didn't agree with it, so they just cut her out. This is the miscommunication part.
But I kind of do agree with that. Like that is how if I were in this position as Danielle, I would be equally upset. I just think I didn't even think about the drinking thing until you said something, like said that just a minute ago. But knowing I was on camera, would try to refrain from some of the harsh things I would say, but I would probably say these behind closed doors. Yeah,
I want to be clear. I would be just as upset.
Yeah.
But I would definitely just react. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm sad I didn't know, but I'm like so happy for them. And then if I did start crying, I'd probably pull I just am so happy for Lindsay.
I'm so overwhelmed.
I'm so overwhelmed. I think she is probably happy, but she's upset that she's not.
This involved. Is such a slight to a friendship, though.
I want to be so clear. I have made it so incredibly clear to even the boyfriends I don't really know of my friends. If you propose without me, your body will be found in Lake Michigan.
I agree. Alicia, if I didn't know that you were getting engaged, that would piss me off. I
would literally lose my mind.
Yeah.
Let's be absolutely clear. Also, if no one knew, fine.
Agreed.
But if just your summer house doesn't know, what the it's such a weird
and move. Later somehow it comes out Chris knew, Chris knowing would actually send me over the edge, because I thought Chris was the one taking photos at the beach. He wasn't.
I did too. No, it was just the engagement party, which he didn't have to know in advance for that. Just be like, bro, bring your camera.
Just needed to be bring your camera, dude.
I want to have a photo shoot for Amanda. We're going to do lingerie or something. And then it's not.
That's weird.
But so I get it. I get why Danielle's upset. I would be so mad too.
I would hold some of these things back, especially once they get to the party.
She reacts horribly.
Yeah.
So, okay. She says she's happy for them, but she's pissed off right now. She goes outside. She hugs Maya. Sierra's so confused on the phone. Has no fucking clue what's happening. But Sierra agrees. She says, even if her and Paige were in the worst fight and Craig had the audacity to propose and not tell Sierra, she would beat his ass. And I agree. Yep. I do not care if we were best friends when you started dating. You better let me know about this engagement part. Yes. If I'm going to the party, give me an advance notice so I don't show up in bungarees, okay?
100%. 100%.
Okay, so Andrea inside says it's hard for him to understand because he hasn't been here all summer, but he's happy for them. Sam is shocked by Danielle's reaction. She's happy for Lindsay and Carl, but she doesn't want to get involved in the drama, so she is not going to show her true feelings.
And she hasn't seen their friendship the last 4 years. She has only seen them on the rocks.
Yeah. So Chris says he wants to confront Danielle, but he knows Danielle needs to process what's happening right now. So Danielle goes to her room and really sobs. She doesn't want to interact with them ever again. And this is where I'm like, Danielle, you're really digging that hole as you talk on camera.
I know.
Just hold it. Chuck the mic in the pool and just hold the breath.
Yes.
Pay the fine.
Yes.
Just, speak in the shower.
She needs to go into a closet, get herself together.
Yeah.
And be able to move forward with this date and pack her feelings up in a box and put it on a shelf, because I do have to say this, that Lindsay and Carl's day does triumph your feelings this one time.
Yeah.
You've got to just shove those babies down, and you can be upset tomorrow. And 100%. I agree with you on agree with Danielle on all of her feelings. She cannot make her feelings overpower this moment.
Look, always in a public setting, on camera or not, if something happens that you're not thrilled about, but there's a correct way to act, you even just say stuff like, I'm just sad I wasn't included, but I'm so happy for them.
Yes.
Be sure to throw that in there, Danielle.
Yeah.
Okay, so back at the beach, Carl and Lindsay are fiancés. They're going to go celebrate. So they leave. Carl does bring the firewood, which fucking set me. Okay, so Carl's heart is very full and racing. And then in the car, this is my favorite part. Lindsay goes, should I call my parents? And Carl's like, no, we don't have service.
He's like, it'll cut out. Like, which
I
that
was
is
like-
really hard to do. But also, let's be honest, every girl, every person out there, because everybody can get proposed to. Any person who is being the one proposed to, you have to assume in this day and age that there is a party waiting for you.
It was so funny because her parents are at this bar Dockers.
Yeah.
And Carl's trying to be like, I want it to be a surprise. Don't call your parents.
Yep.
But listen, I do not care. I'm going to call my parents. That's my first call. I don't care if you tell me we don't have
You got to
service.
take a beat because they may be waiting for you somewhere.
They better hide their faces. They better make it look like they're at home. When my friend got engaged and I was surprising her in Chicago, I found a blank wall at my parents because she knows what my apartment looks like and I have a white wall. And I sat there and I sat in a hallway uncomfortably, angling it so close to my face. And she had no fucking idea. You do that shit because they're gonna call.
I agree. They're gonna call. But they're probably like 15 minutes away. So
I just think it was funny that Lindsay was like, yeah, I got no service. I would have been like, fuck you, I'm calling.
I would have been like, who cares if it cuts out? We'll call him back.
Yeah. So Lindsay's parents are flying in along with one of Lindsay's best girlfriends from her PR days in DC and then like other close friends. Sadly, Sharon and Carl's stepdad can't be there, but that's okay because the focus is on Lindsay. I love that.
Yeah.
He's like, it's all about Lindsay. So back at the house, they find out that Chris knew. And Paige is like, that's kind of bullshit then that like Carl didn't tell Danielle because they've been friends for 6 years and you just met them.
That's a moment, Chris, where you just don't say anything.
Yeah, that was Paige realizing like there was I would be Paige. I'd be like, I noticed shitty things happen. Like I see why
it's
Danielle's
like, I can
upset.
see how Carl is planning this with certain people. Danielle is intentionally being left out.
That's the thing is like, if you want to not tell Paige or like Sierra, fucking fine. Like they're not going to be upset. But like, it's not that you left the whole summer house in the dark. Like you told Kyle your best friend, but like it looks bad.
Yeah. I think Kyle should have told Danielle. Before the rest of the group.
I do too.
I just don't think they saw what was really happening here.
But I think that really would have hurt Kyle and Carl's friendship.
I think Kyle should have said like, or I don't think it would have mattered if I'm saying like Kyle should have told Danielle as soon as Carl and Lindsay left. So it's still not like ruining the news or like telling her
so then she would have had time to process.
But it's a one-on-one conversation instead of her finding out with the group.
That could have been fine.
How you find out matters.
Yeah. So you go to we're going to Dockers. I feel like everyone left without Danielle or they're waiting for her
because she's like sobbing in that main bathroom
to a producer.
I was like, oh my God, they had to use this footage and producers never want to be on the show, but like you're willing to put this footage on there because like that was a big moment of her literally sobbing in that.
Yeah. And again, I think it's just like, I think personally, Danielle's realizing the friendship is over at this point.
This is the nail in the coffin.
Like they don't, not even that she never wants to see them again. Like she was saying, I think she's realizing like, I'm really out of this friendship.
Yep. Yes.
And I think that, and I get again, her sobbing, but she has probably so many emotions. She's like, I can't. And she even says like, she'd regret not going. So she has to pull herself together to go, which I think was the right decision.
And that's where I think that's where I lean more on Danielle's side. Because she clearly wants this friendship still. And I look at it like Lindsay does not care about this friendship, and that's not a right or a wrong thing. I just feel for Danielle seeing how upset she is mourning this friendship. And I don't see Lindsay doing that. So I like my emotions go to Danielle more because I see the hurt.
Again, I think it's just because Danielle needs more support in this moment, right? Like Lindsay has always needed support and Danielle's always been there. And now when Danielle needs support with her own relationship or whatever, Lindsay hasn't been there. So Danielle has felt hurt and now she feels more upset. And I understand that she reacted incorrectly, but she's, I think, just overwhelmed at a lot of things, and it's all coming out. And as someone who cried on a plane for like 8 hours for no reason, I get it. Once you start crying, you just can't stop.
The sobbing I saw, like, I was like, oh, that's
when
the
she
worst.
started doing the breathing.
Yeah, it is so
I was like,
hard
oh man,
to walk
she's
it back.
dead. Yeah, it's done. So it's now Saturday, 7:45 p.m. We're at Dockers at the engagement party. Summer house crew arrives. Then at 7:48, this is where Danielle really starts to just, you need to shut up.
This is actually the worst, because earlier I can like say like that's her initial reaction. She's processing.
This is bad.
When you get in that car and go to this party, this is when you really get it
shut the hell up.
And I can't believe someone in that car, one of those girls, didn't tell her, like, you got to put a brave face on and get it together right now.
Someone should have been like, you do not speak about your feelings tonight unless it's to us. That is it.
That's the thing. I even if I wasn't super close with someone and they were doing this, I'd be like, I'm your safe zone. Talk to me.
Everyone else
try not to talk to any of this. Yeah.
So at 7:48, someone asked Danielle if she saw the ring, and she says she knew nothing.
That I understand responding to that question.
In Danielle's defense, this person seemed really shocked by that answer.
This first one, I was like, they asked, and she was being honest.
Did you see the ring? She said, I had no idea until right now.
Yes.
It's 8:05. She then tells someone that her and Lindsay have been fighting, and she had no idea about the engagement. This person also seemed really shocked.
Yes.
Which makes me think Lindsay's not talking about your friendship to anyone. This was bad, but okay. Now it's 8:21. She tells other people she just found out about this, and she's pissed. Yeah. And then she starts double fisting. Which again, these people seem shocked, but I feel like they don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
Then at 8:32, this is really this is the nail in the coffin for Danielle. She tells Lindsay's friend from DC, Dania or whatever.
Yeah.
Dania. And I knew she was going to be a player when Carl mentioned her name. I fucking knew something was going to happen.
Yep.
She tells his friend from DC that she didn't know. And Dania is like, well, I knew, because Danielle's like, did you know? And she's like, yeah, I had to fly in from DC. And Danielle's like, well, I should have known. And then Danielle says she doesn't deserve this, but she's putting on a good face. And Dania is like, this is the best fucking day of Lindsay's life. Like, you need to snap out of this, and you need to be happy for fucking Lindsay. And this is where I was like, oh, this bitch is obviously gonna tell Lindsay what you're fucking doing.
And like, how is that not a wake-up call? Like, that's the first person that we've seen at least tell Danielle, get it together. And Danielle does not really get it together.
No, look, I would be pissed if I found out my friend got engaged. I'd be like, and I pretended. I mean, on the phone when my friend called me, I pretended I was in New York, and I was like, oh my God, you didn't tell me. What the fuck? But I wasn't like, given I knew, but I would never be like, it's about me. I would call my mom, who's my safe zone, and be like, I was so mad I didn't know.
I sometimes didn't know when my friend the day was happening, but I've always been given a heads up about when it's coming. So when they do call me, or I do see it on social media, it's not a shock.
Yeah, I think that's important, to know that it's coming.
Daniel kind of did, because Carl said he was buying a ring.
Yeah, I don't think it has to. I think it has to do with they don't care about this friendship.
I think it has to do with them also living together. Like, she was with them this morning.
There's a lot of yeah.
That's way more than my friends who live across the country who I don't see every day.
It would make me feel better if no one in the summer house knew except Kyle, because then I'd be like, okay. The fact that Chris knows is the part that I'd be like, that's where I would die. I'd die on that hill. So Maya, Sam, and Paige are worried about Danielle because she is not well. They all agree that it's not fair for Danielle to be doing this here. And that's big, because they all validate her feelings, but they're like, she needs to get it together. But that's why I'm like, one of them needs to pull her aside and be like, sit down, sit right here. They're not friends with it. Like, they're not good friends to Danielle. This is kind of like a girl code thing. Like, for Lindsay, even if you dislike Lindsay, you do it. Like, you make sure that this day is everything for her. Yeah. So Lindsay and Carl are here. They're so surprised. Lindsay's parents. Oh my God. But then, oh my God, I started to tear up. Lindsay cries to her dad that she's engaged. And then I was really happy for Lindsay because she
Me
really wanted
too.
this.
Yeah.
Like, given, I think she really is in love with Carl, but she really wanted to be engaged. Like, that was
Yes.
a big thing for her. So I'm
Yes.
happy she got it. Yeah, Danielle does hug Lindsay and say congrats, but we don't see them interact.
No.
Now, Danielle, another mistake. You should have hugged your fucking friend and been like, I'm so happy. Can you believe it?
Because what happens is, I'm pretty sure Kyle hugs Lindsay or like grabs her or something, and
Yeah.
Danielle like kind of hugs the
Hugs
situation
too.
happening.
Yeah, and they like look at each other like, and then that's it. I would have immediately grabbed my friend and been like, I had no idea this is amazing. Like, I can't believe I didn't know. You can make it funny, right? You could be like, Carl, what the fuck? You didn't tell me this is amazing news or something. And be like, I'm sorry if you thought anything different. Like, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Say something. Don't just
even
hug
if you have to
like,
fake it, like you just gotta do it. So when like, because they're gonna see this shit again. We always say this, like, you can't do stuff on camera and then like want to like, I don't know, walk away from it and not have issues down the line.
Bitch, they're gonna see how mad you are.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so at least pretend to be happy at one moment.
Yeah. In the interview, you could be like, I'm putting on a happy face because it's like not about me, it's about them.
Yes.
Like,
and
my feelings do not matter.
Yep.
Yeah. Do that. So it's 9:02 p.m. The party rages on. Everyone's admiring Lindsay's ring. Chris is taking pictures because he had to know in advance, obviously.
Thank God.
So Carl's like, oh, Lindsay made a joke about getting married next week. And Kyle's like, do it. The less planning, the better.
I feel that from Kyle, and he deserves a joke like that after everything he went through.
Yeah. Danielle's doing okay-ish. Paige, though, here's Paige. Paige looks at at Lindsay and sees that Lindsay's wearing shoulder pads. She wore shoulder pads to the beach.
Lindsay says she was so shocked she had no clue it was coming.
She's wearing shoulder pads. So Paige is like, this bitch knew she was getting engaged. We're all thinking it. She curled her hair, and Paige is like, I'm proud of her. She should. If you know it's coming, you look your hottest. But you knew you had to have an inkling.
I think she had an inkling.
I think so too, just because Carl was nervous to go get firewood.
there were like a few, you know, those TikToks where it's like, am I getting engaged today, or are we going on a drive by ourselves? Like, there's some things that are leading you down this path of like, you have some thoughts in your head, Lindsay. There's no way you had no idea.
You know, I'm sure that someone before that weekend was like, hey, Lindsay, are your nails done? Yeah. You pick it up. Okay. So Sam and Corey are sitting down. She does a food happy dance. Corey says he thinks it's cute. Maya then takes a picture of them and goes, for your engagement. And then Corey leaves because he's like, fuck that.
Oh, and that is stressful.
Then Paige asks Sam when Corey's going to say that they should be exclusive. And Sam's like, I don't know. And then we find out she's a little nervous because she's approaching this place where she could get hurt. And she's starting to really care about this. And she doesn't want to like mess it up, which is so real when you really like someone and you're like, do they like me
you're like
back?
Right in between that, like jumping. You have this fork in the road. You jump off and you like decide to put your feelings in it and like wear your heart on your sleeve, or you freak the F out and you like run away. I do this all the time. I'm
excited for her. I'm really excited for her.
Me too.
Because they're a hot couple.
They're hot
and like
after his conversation with Maya, like I like just want this for her. Like he's actually a good guy too.
I know. Who would have fucking thought this douchebag would turn out to be like our favorite #1 guy on the show?
I love
#1 guy besides Andrea, but he's not on the show. #1 guy. Okay, so Kyle brings Amanda over on FaceTime. Amanda's happy for them. And then Kyle and Carl walk off. Kyle says he's proud and excited for both of them. And no matter what they've been through, this doesn't cloud their friendship. And then Kyle, I think, does a good job of giving Carl like a heads up. He says that Danielle was emotional when she found out, right? He didn't say like mad. Yeah. And then he explains that Danielle was hurt that she was left in the dark. Yeah. And Carl says he feels bad. And he didn't want Danielle to be hurt, but with everything that's been happening, he wanted the girls to figure that out, which I also get, because men, listen, men are kind of short term in the sense that he sees probably Lindsay and Danielle arguing and goes, I should not bring Danielle into this. And maybe Lindsay said, like, don't bring Danielle into this.
Yeah.
But
I feel
I
like
don't
then
know.
like that.
To everyone else, it looks weird.
And it, like, Carl, you're friends with Danielle on your own, and you just settled things with her on your side of the fence. So, like,
but she blew into or she screamed.
I know. But still, like, you are each person in that relationship is friends with Danielle. So it's not just one friend snubbed her. Both friends snubbed her.
That's true. She's like mourning like, two friendships.
It's like Carl made this decision for Lindsay's friendship with Danielle, but what about his friendship with Danielle?
Yeah, and I think, listen, I don't, which is valid. Carl was not feeling about how Danielle was going to feel about this.
Yeah. Which it is Lindsay's proposal, so I don't think it should be all about Danielle. But I just think before Carl left, he should have mentioned something to him or to her or told Kyle to do it. I think a little bit more thought and attention to that friendship would have been nice.
I think so too, but I don't think it's required. I think I really do.
Then you're giving up the friendship. Like you do have to accept that if I don't
think Carl wants to give up the friendship. I think Lindsay's giving up the friendship and Carl is supporting her on that.
Yeah.
I do think behind closed doors, Lindsay has said, I'm done with Danielle.
Yeah,
I do.
I do think
Lindsay,
she's done.
There is nothing in these past like 2 to 3 episodes that makes me think Lindsay wants anything to do with Danielle.
I agree with that.
So then Carl's like, why would I include her in the engagement? Right?
Right.
Okay, it's 10:33. We're all back at the house. We have like other people that aren't on Summer House here celebrating. We're gonna party here. Okay, so I don't know if you guys noticed this, but they did like a long shot at the kitchen and everyone was in the living room and they labeled Lindsay and said publicist. And then they did Lex, Andrea's girlfriend. And I was like, you kind of like, damn, like just so different.
But we never see Lindsay publicist anymore.
Yeah, that was weird too, because guys, she's not a publicist. Hubhouse has gone. But just cracked me up because you could just put Lindsay and then like Lexi, Andrea's girlfriend.
She literally was in previously on. Like, we know who she is.
We know Lindsay. It's been 7 fucking years.
No, but we even know Lexi. Like, we don't need it tagged.
Like, also, Lindsay being a publicist in old Summer days meant a lot because we saw them working on weekends and like figuring out shit on weekdays. It means nothing this season.
No, yeah.
She could be a firefighter and we would have no fucking clue. Like, it doesn't matter.
She could be a firefighter.
She could be anything.
Well, it adds no value to give us titles anymore.
I know. And I just love that they should have given Lexi like a title. I would love to know what Lexi does.
She's a model.
Andrea's girlfriend. It was just so fucking
model
funny.
/ Andrea's girlfriend.
Anything. So we do a fire without Luke, which to me isn't a fire, it's just embers.
We had to use the wood that we got. So
that's right. That's one of my favorite storylines. If we ever did like Summer House superlatives, my favorite storyline would be Carl getting wood before the engagement.
If I don't get wood before my engagement, I'm done.
Pissed.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I'm done. So it's 11:06 p.m. Everyone's kind of turning down. Paige tells Craig about everything and how awkward it got, but they also talk about how Corey and Sam actually really like each other. Danielle's sad. So now it's Sunday, 9:41 a.m. We're all waking up. Lindsay's so happy right now. She loves Carl. She does a little baby voice in bed, like, you know. Danielle,
I'll give it to her on that one.
Yeah, it was fine. Danielle's a mess right now. And then there's something about doing football, and then Corey breaks the fridge handle. And then at 10:22, everyone's getting in like vixen and villain outfits. So you got red and green. Sam asked Danielle if she's ever going to talk to them about it, which is everything. And Danielle says, it's not about her and it shouldn't be. And I think It's
Okay,
a
but
little
you
too
can't
late.
say that now.
It's a little too, the next day is when you should maybe be like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah, we need
I
to
didn't
reverse
react
our
great.
emotions.
Danielle should have said, listen, last night I didn't react great. I'm sorry. I really am happy. Do I wish I was involved? Yes, but it's not up to me. And I'm sorry
Yes.
if I reacted upset. I'm so, so happy for you guys. And I love you no
Yeah.
matter what happens in our friendship. And that's it. And then walk away, mic drop it,
And
give
be
them
ready to like
time.
walk away from the friendship because you're not getting what you need also. Like,
Yes,
yeah,
but
but
no,
nope, we're not gonna do it.
nope, she's doing the opposite. She did what last night she should have done today, and today what she should have done last
Oh
night.
man.
Craig is coming next week, and so is Oliver. And then they're leaving, and Paige says she would rather die than run. So now it's 12:38 p.m. We're at the beach. We're gonna play football. Carl and Lindsay, though, talk over some waters first. So he says there were a lot of moving parts yesterday. He's really glad it worked out. Carl
Mhm.
tells Lindsay that Kyle gave him a heads up that Danielle was upset that she wasn't in the loop. And Carl says he told Danielle he was ring shopping and he didn't tell any of the girls in the house. Then Lindsay gets activated
Yes.
ish. It's like the beginning stages of activation because we have seen her more activated. Anyway, Lindsay says that Carl shouldn't justify himself because it wasn't about Danielle and Danielle should understand why she wasn't involved. And now Lindsay in her interview, she's pissed and
it's very intentional. Danielle wasn't told. The way Lindsay says that, it's like it's a punishment for ever bringing up anything that you've ever said about our relationship.
Yeah.
And that, ooh,
she tells Carl to not fucking apologize for that shit. And then she stands up and she's like, let's go. And I was like, oh my God, she's gonna hit Danielle. Like I thought she was gonna body check her.
Me too, because the rest of the group is like walking up. She's like, we're done with this. And I thought she was gonna walk up straight to Danielle and just like scream at her.
Body check something, but she didn't. This might be growth. I don't know. But also I would have loved them to just talk. It feels like they're not talking.
That's the thing. I'd rather just get out in the open.
Just like scream.
We keep talking around the issues to everybody else around us.
Like Kyle is so involved. Get him out of here.
Why am I happy that Kyle screamed directly at Lindsay at the beginning of this summer? At least he said something to them.
The issues were out there to be fixed. They're not, the issues are nowhere to be found. So they're just like sitting there. And we can't discuss them because no one wants to bring it up. It's so infuriating.
I think nobody wants to take responsibility for their part in it. So we're all just like talking around it.
I know. I also think there's the fear that if you talk about it, the friendship's going to be, it's like when you know in your relationship that like it might be over, but you don't want it to be over.
Avoiding seeing that person.
Yeah. I don't know. So it's 1:02 p.m. We play football. Some highlights. Chris accidentally, but we find out later intentionally, just kidding, punches Kyle in the face. I thought the football scenes were funny to watch. Nothing happened. It was just like they were bad.
We didn't get anything afterwards, really.
It was funny. Yeah. So then it's 2:27 p.m. We're all done playing. Corey and Sam talk. Sam says she knows that Corey likes her because Maya told her. And Corey says it's just like a little schoolyard crush. And then she's like, so what are we? And he's like, yeah, what are we? And she goes, I want you to tell me in your own words what you want the plan to be, which I love.
Love that.
Face him off, Sam.
Yeah.
And then Corey says he wants to keep seeing Sam and see what happens. And Sam agrees. And then she says that she missed him when he was gone last week for one whole day. And it was cute.
This was really cute.
I was smiling.
Me too.
Like, oh my God. Is this my new like unachievable relationship I want? Like, did standards just go up?
Absolutely.
So then Corey says in his interview that he's bad at talking about his emotions because he's trying to be a cool guy, but he doesn't want to do that with Sam because he really wants this to work out and see what happens because it's more than just a Hampton summer fling. And I was like, oh my God, he's obsessed with her.
And that had to be recorded in the fall.
Oh my God.
If they got together actually officially in March, he's telling cameras he really likes her in like September. I love it.
Oh my God, I'm so obsessed. I want more. Never do this.
I've never been more excited for Winter House. Like, who would think Winter House would be my new favorite?
I always think it's so funny that like Craig and Corey are best friends and like Corey's way better than Craig.
Yes.
Craig is one of the shitty ass Southern Charm men that I just cannot. There's not one good dude on that show.
Okay, but I bet like
except for
Corey had shitty ass relationships in the time that Craig did. We just saw it all on TV.
That's true. Corey could be a huge douchebag, and we
Like,
just
can
don't
you
know.
imagine if we only saw Paige and Craig? We had never met Craig before. We'd think he is great.
I would love Craig. You're right.
Yeah.
But we at least saw Corey in one shitty relationship with the blonde, the
but
other
it wasn't
blonde.
shitty. It was just him and like a hookup in a house.
That's true. That's true. What was her nuts? The
Jess?
Sims girl. Yeah.
The Sims girl.
She did meta. That's what I think it is.
That's how we explain it.
That's how I picture
Yes,
it. How it was explained to me, I picture it like
I
Sims.
agree. No,
Okay.
it's good. I just think it's hilarious.
So we go back to New York. It's Monday. Gabby meets up with her blind date, Matt. So this is her first blind date because she didn't stalk him online before, which I think is a mistake. You should look up someone's rap sheet before you go out with them. But
I don't know. I'm like starting to phase out. I think you should look him up so you know what he looks like and maybe have like one or two facts just in case you get tripped up. But I'm getting over needing to know everything about people before I meet them. Because like you want it to be natural when you're talking to them on a date.
I'm not over that yet. So
I've also been on a blind date where I did not meet the person. I did not. I didn't even look him up. He didn't have social media.
Oh shit.
But it was like friends set me up. Yeah, it was fun.
That's better. If a friend set you up because
Yes.
they vetted the person already.
And her friend did. Like,
I almost think this blind date would be easier than like a dating app.
Yes, it
it's been
is.
vetted. Yeah.
And I talked to the person on the phone. We just happened to be with two of our friends in different cities. And we like all weirdly four-way had a conversation.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so at first the date's not so bad. Then Gabby says this thing about letting the universe do what it wants because she's a control freak. She can't control this. Then he asks, "What's your favorite fruit?" And he goes, "Sorry, this is my first blind date. Like, I'm just trying to figure it out." And she's like, "No, same. I think I would do cherries." And he goes, "Should we do like top 10 fruits?" And I was like, "Kill this man." No, sir.
I feel like first date conversations aren't that hard. Like, why do people make them that hard?
What do you do? Like,
it's only hard if you've already talked about this on a dating app prior. That's what kills it. But
which absolutely kills it, which is why I'm always like, if you don't ask me out within the first 30 seconds, I'm so over your ass.
Me too.
Okay, so now it's Wednesday. We're at Amanda and Kyle's apartment. The dogs had their surgeries. So then they sit down. Kyle missed Amanda's doctor's appointment. She had blood work. Oh, I just burped, sorry, and an ultrasound. And she found out that her estrogen levels are lower than expected. Like when you're postmenopausal.
Which, like, that's bad.
That's crazy. And she said she had all these side effects, like she was tired, she like was having headaches and migraines and all this crazy stuff. And she just didn't know what it was like, why it was happening.
That's even more confusing to me why she waited so long to go back to the doctor.
Found out it's because she's low on estrogen. Yeah. So she's gonna go see a hormone doctor. She feels relief because she can finally like feel like herself again. And then she starts crying because going off birth control, she's been going through a lot and she knew something wasn't right. And she's really happy that there are actual reasons that like some things were not right, because you feel like you're going crazy. And this is a big thing now where women are being dismissed at doctors' offices, which I have been this person before. And it's so frustrating to be like, something's wrong. And they're like, you probably just like have your period. And I'm like, I don't, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm so bad at fighting for myself. But something I heard online is you are paying these doctors. If you like went and did any other service and felt like you weren't being heard, you would immediately find someone new. You can do that with doctors too. Like, find doctors that work for you. Yeah. Because they are working for you. You are paying them.
Yeah. The last doctor I went to, I said something like, I've been getting crazy headaches. And he goes, you should probably just exercise more. And I was like, what?
And you exercise a lot.
Yeah. I was like, sir, I exercise every day. He's like, exercise for an hour instead of half an hour. And I was like, what? So doctors are dumb sometimes, but I love a doctor that listens and helps you find the problem. Doesn't just like dismiss you or say, I don't know. So Amanda also learned that she's not infertile. It could just be more difficult for her to get pregnant. And this is that birth control shit. Like, it destroys your body. And I know I'm on it.
About it the other day. It's like, you've got to like replace a bunch of stuff in your body if you come off of it. And it can take you years.
Yeah.
If you don't do it right.
Yeah, birth control's
This terrifies
crazy,
me. This
which
this
is,
makes me never want to get back on it.
isn't it crazy that like the man birth control did not have this crazy of side effects, but just men couldn't be inconvenienced to take a man birth control
And
every
no, it
day?
did. It did have similar side effects. Okay, maybe not
Oh,
long-term
did
side
it?
effects like this, but it had
Yeah.
similar side effects to what women experience when they're on birth control and they stop the studies over it. And women are
God,
like,
I want to fucking
if we can
die.
deal with it, why can't you?
Literally.
And then we're yelled at whenever we're told we're moody. I'm being pumped full of drugs.
Yeah, fuck you. So, also, I just want to be clear on birth control, I have zero emotion. Like you
I
could murder my family in front of me and I wouldn't feel like I can't cry on birth control. It's the craziest thing.
That's such a wild side effect.
But when I was off of it for like a year, I like all my emotions came back and I didn't know what to do with myself because now I felt like I was crying and emotional at everything.
Yeah.
But when I'm on it, I'm telling you, you could like destroy me
Huh.
verbally and I feel nothing.
I haven't
I
been on it
hate
for a
birth. Oh
while,
my God,
so I
I hate
can't
birth control.
remember.
Hate it. I'm still on it. It's crazy. So Kyle, then we talk about being a dad, and Kyle needs to cut his mullet because Amanda hates it, but he's not gonna cut it because he's just feeling like himself.
I
Like
like
a
how he's
little
like,
peace
this is
sign.
my ego now. I'm like,
Fuck off.
weirdly, I love him saying that, but I hate it.
I hate the mullet.
I love the
Okay.
like vibe of his mullet, his character.
I hate it. So it's Friday, 4:32 p.m. Last weekend vibes. Paige is ready to get drunk with Craig. And then Craig yells about some woman texting, knocking her dog. He would never make it in New York.
No.
Okay, so Corey wants to throw a dinner party to say thanks for letting him come. And then they talk about all the different couples in the house being in different places. Like Carl and Lindsay, they just got engaged, and Corey and Sam, and they're going to start dating. And then Paige and Craig, and Paige goes, chillin'. And Craig's like, well, we're trying to like take our life courses and mush them into one life course and like combine them to make this ultra, whatever he says, ultra life course. And Paige goes, you sound like you're in an infomercial.
Oh my God.
And so then Paige says, right, when she tells Craig shit, like, I don't want to get engaged, I don't want to get married, I don't want to move to Charleston, whatever it is, he gets insecure, which is valid, but
Yes.
his insecurity is stressing Paige the fuck out. And listen,
this is the part of relationships that sucks because
yeah.
I don't know if this would help, but I wonder if she was like, I love you so much, but I'm not ready for if that would even do anything.
Yeah,
you know?
I think their backgrounds are also right. So Craig's older, so he's like probably ready to settle down.
Yeah.
He's also in a town where it's very normal to get married and start a family and like be in relationships all the time. Where Paige is from a world where it's like you could go on, like you could be dating for 3 years in New York and then someone ghosts you and like moves out of the apartment without you knowing.
Oh my
like
God.
So pages, they're just different. And I do I've been warming up to their relationship a lot. I think I just hate Greg. Like
I think you do too.
I never will root for Greg. And I'm sorry for you Southern Charmies, but I hate him. Anyway, so at 5:12, Danielle and Robert are here.
Hell yeah.
I feels weird being excited for Robert because like my heart is crushed over and
I
over
also
again.
weirdly thought Robert that because we saw on the next time on that Robert's gonna have a conversation with Carl. I thought that was gonna happen at the engagement party, and I did mad about it.
I did too.
So I feel better that it's coming later.
Yeah. So 5:24, Sam, Gabby, Sierra, and Maya are all driving down together. They talk about Gabby's blind date. They went to a steakhouse in Times Square, which I hate that place. But he was a vegetarian, which is
I can't
date a vegetarian. I'm sorry, I'm from the Midwest.
But I think it's so funny that blind date got set up at a steakhouse.
Yeah. And Times Square. Gabby was probably like, I hate it here.
Jeez.
Okay, but she didn't ask him his sign.
Which I think is good.
Progress. So Danielle, Robert, Paige, and Craig are all at the house. They bring in packages at 5:45. We find out that Robert's just in for tonight, and then because he has to leave tomorrow to work, so he better spend some fucking time with Danielle and stop partying in the goddamn kitchen. So Chris, Amanda, and Kyle make it to the house, and then at 5:53 p.m., Danielle and Robert say that they have not talked to Lindsay or Carl since the engagement. Robert did send them a text, but only Lindsay responded, so Robert is not happy with the tall man right now. I don't think that's that big a deal because they were probably together. right?
I think Carl should say, like, it's not hard to say thank you, but you're also getting like 500 messages.
Also, if it was a group chat, I see why only Lindsay's like, thank you so much, we appreciate it. If it was separate text, you should respond. I get that. Okay, so
it's complex. I think it is a red flag, but I find it weird that like Carl and Lindsay don't say anything about not seeing or talking to their quote unquote best friends.
I think that's it, is they're not breaking up with them. They're trying to ghost, but you can't ghost when you're in a summer house with someone.
Yes. It's just like it's weird and it's awkward. And this is the part of that I hate about Summer House right now. It's just like,
yeah, fucking just fight.
I don't want to watch like my worst
worst
fear of my friends doing this to me on TV.
Yeah, I mean, like, I appreciate later Robert saying something, like, fucking someone say something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this is just awkward.
So Robert's just like they could just end the friendship, but this seems more malicious than that. And I get, it seems like they're like holding on for maybe they'll need them, and maybe they like, Robert's just like, just break up with me if you hate me.
That,
like,
yeah, it kind of feels like they're being strung along a little.
So Robert tells us that Danielle is, or hang on, Danielle tells us that Robert is boiling because he knows Danielle's upset and he wants to have her back, which is hot, which we also don't see a lot in Bravo relationships, which I know they end, but I'm happy that Robert,
I know, I'm really happy about this.
Yes,
that he still had her back on this,
and I like much that he does it in an adult way. He's love not that. Petty about it. Okay, so Lindsay and Carl are here. Everyone says hi and congratulates them again. But then Paige, Danielle, and Amanda are outside. Danielle vents about how she's very hurt. And Paige agrees and says Carl's biggest fear, though, is probably pissing Lindsay off. And so he was probably nervous to involve Danielle, which I think Paige is on the money with this. I agree.
And that's, to me, like that's such a weird dynamic.
It is. It's like, that's no one wants to get involved.
Danielle is hitting it right. Like, she said that like they won't disagree about things, so they just avoid things.
Yeah, wild. So the girls' car makes it down. Sierra's got new hair. Maya asked Lindsay how she's feeling this weekend. Lindsay says she just wants to have fun and enjoy it. And then in her interview was like, zero interest in Danielle this weekend. But then Lindsay did talk to all her friends from the last weekend.
Of course. And Carl was told, like she was told this on Sunday.
They all told Lindsay that Danielle was complaining at her engagement party about not knowing. So Lindsay's pissed because Danielle made the moment.
Danielle is the problem.
Yeah. Danielle made the moment about her. So Lindsay's done. No more friendship. But then you should break up with her.
Then you need to have a conversation and sit her down and say, that was not cool. I made my engagement about you. Like, clearly we are not friends.
Yeah. Say something.
Yeah.
So we miss Corey. He's going to come tomorrow. And then Carl and Kyle talk. Carl says he got 400 texts from everyone congratulating. This is probably like, so couldn't answer them all. He says he didn't go out of his way to not tell Danielle. And Kyle says, listen,
he kind of did. He kind of did.
He made sure not to tell Danielle. Yeah. But Kyle says, listen, don't shoot the messenger, but that's how it feels.
Yes.
Which I appreciate Kyle being like, that might not have been your intention, but to everyone else, it feels a certain way. And so Carl's known Danielle for a long time. They like dated before Summer House and all that shit. And he loves her and he wants to extend an olive branch, but he knows maybe they do need separation. Well, and this is where I'm like, what?
He says, we were hurt too, but Carl and Danielle just cleared the air and had no issues after that. So I don't like this we were hurt too anymore.
Yeah, but then Lindsay had an issue that Carl talked to Danielle.
So now we have an issue because you can't sort out your relationship.
This is a couple that's a we.
There
are couples with two eyes and a couple with a we.
I don't like that because my friendship is with each of you directly, not with your coupleship.
Listen, I agree. But as two people who are not bending over backwards for like we never had a timeline, right? We never were Lindsay or Carl wanting all that, right? From season 1, Carl said he wants a girlfriend. He wants to be married. He wants kids. You and I would never go on Summer House at 24 and be like, we want to be engaged ASAP.
I still don't want. There's no wants
Yeah.
over on this
So
side.
I think like this is what they want. They've always
Yeah.
wanted to be a we.
I'm just gonna make a bold statement here. I don't think I can ever be friends with someone like with people like this in a relationship.
I think I would be far
Like
away
real friends. Like I
like
would
a
be
Maya. I would be a Maya.
Yes, yes. But I'm saying like real friends. We're like
No.
you actually and I actually know your life like back and forth. I cannot be friends with people who make it a we because to me a relationship is 1-to-1.
I could if I met you as a we. I'd be best friends with you as a couple if I met you as a we.
I just don't think I would ever be able to be close because I feel like everything would constantly be we and I can't do that.
But if you're used to those two people being a we, you can get used to that. The problem is when you have separate friendships with both of them, then they
went from
eyes.
We. Yeah.
And yeah, it went from three eyes.
It went from we as in all three of us, and Danielle got kicked out of the we.
Yeah, I went to a different, and then you don't even have those relationships with those two separate people because they're now a we and you're an I, and you're like, what do we do? And they're like, we who?
Oh, this would be so hard for me.
Wild.
That's why I see Danielle like in these moments.
That's why I do too. I think I understand she handled it so wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is not right. But I
see the pain.
I would be Danielle.
The blaring pain. Yeah.
I would be like, why'd they kick me out of the we?
This is my worst fear.
Yes.
I'm so nervous about this happening to me.
This is why I never support friends dating in the friend group. I know if you fall in love magically, fucking fine. But like you could destroy the whole friend group and I cannot do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I refuse. So Carl says it's his choice how he goes about telling people about his engagement, which is 100% true. And Kyle says he just wants Carl to be aware because if the conversation kind of goes like this, it could easily go south. And then this could be a breaking point in the friendship. Like Kyle, I don't know. How is Kyle the one that's like, I'm being reasonable and telling you you're about to like, you got to be sure you want to lose this friendship because that's what's happening.
And I think this is what a real friend does.
Mm-hmm.
Like they actually tell you what's going on and you get to make the choice on what you want to do. But I think this is so real of Kyle to be like, if you come at this conversation like you are right now, you're cutting the friendship
Kyle
off.
Actually has been the best friend this episode. He had Danielle's back in the sense that he supported her feelings, had Carl's back by telling him, but never like turned his back on Danielle because he was like, she was emotional.
He's walking that line so well.
Yes, he is trying to explain to Carl Danielle's feelings and supporting Danielle by being there, but also being a good friend of Carl. He's so good. He hates Lindsay though, so I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's not even like bashing Lindsay to make Danielle feel better. You know?
It's magic.
He's really doing it well.
So everyone's getting ready. It's time to go to a pool party. Lindsay might change her name to Lindsay Hubhouse Radke.
No.
She should keep Hubbard. That's just it. So Paige tries on the ring. Craig makes a funny joke. He's like, who's the man? Who's that? It was great. So
Craig would be so happy if he woke up one day and randomly had blacked out and proposed to Paige and she said yes.
Yeah, he'd be like, so happy. So Robert pulls Carl for a chat, which I think was it's very adult. We're sober. It's not the weekend of your engagement. We're going to talk about it. So Robert starts out and says he's happy for them.
Incredible.
Yeah, great. That's exactly what you do. But says a lot's happened with Lindsay and Danielle, right? It's not about us. It's about Lindsay and Danielle.
Yep.
And he wants to know why Danielle was kind of the last to know, which is true because the only people that didn't know were the summer house.
And they all got told at the same time. It's
so
and I like how he says it's embarrassing. Like
it wouldn't even have been like, oh, I was scared like the surprise was gonna get ruined because 95 other people knew.
Yes.
So
you could have started to spread this around the house slowly.
Yeah. Okay. So Kyle sees that, but he didn't tell any of the girls in the house.
Carl.
Fuck. Carl says that he didn't tell any girls in the house. Robert says, like, see, that hurts though, because Danielle has not always just been another girl in the house.
Which that is a really key point here.
Yeah, even if
you are looping her in with just being someone you live with.
Yeah. And even if like you are mad at her now, her past speaks for itself in the sense that like you could have given her a heads up.
Yeah.
And I
And
mean,
you could have
Robert,
just told her. I think she would have told the entire house. But again, Lindsay would have been gone already.
no one's gonna ruin a proposal. No matter how much you hate Lindsay,
Especially a filmed proposal.
No one's gonna be like, hey, Lindsay's proposing right now. Also, she wore shoulder pads. She knew. I'm just kidding. So Robert makes a point, right? Like Danielle took a glass to the chest for Lindsay. She's always been there to pick up the pieces, including the last time when Carl finger banged Lindsay and Lindsay got mad.
This was so well spoken. The way Robert laid that out.
I have no notes.
The way he said she took a glass for her.
Yeah, no notes. So he also says Danielle's hurt because like Lindsay's happy ending is important to Danielle too.
Yeah.
Great point. And Robert's just saying like they shouldn't throw it all away. Like think about that. Before you choose to remove Danielle from your life, please take the time to like think about everything.
And I like how he's assessing that it's not just Danielle's being hurt because she's left out and not in the know. It's like you are diminishing this friendship and please don't do that.
Yeah. And he's not saying like, don't break up with Danielle. Don't leave. It's like, if you want to, fine, but like consider her feelings and all this and how she has been a good friend.
Yeah.
And like, he didn't put any blame on Carl. He's just like, Danielle's just upset.
Yeah.
Like, period.
Hear me out of like, here's the big picture of what this all is.
So Carl feels bad that Danielle's upset. But there's been a lot of things happening and Carl isn't comfortable talking to Danielle about it. And Robert's like, that's fine. Like, but it's about Lindsay. Is it about Lindsay and Danielle or like you and Danielle? Like, where's the issue lie? Which again is good to be like, is it a we? Or are we actually going to separate it and say Lindsay has an issue with Danielle, but you are also still Danielle's friend. Yeah. You were before Lindsay came into a picture.
And like, does you telling Danielle something about your relationship, if that makes you uncomfortable, that speaks more about your relationship and you not being able to tell her Lindsay something than with like Danielle, quote unquote, having the problem. Like you guys are actually part of the problem.
Yes, that was an amazing point to be like, let's separate it. Is it a we problem? Is it a you problem? Is it the Lindsay problem? Who has the problem with Danielle?
Yeah.
And I think that was a great way to put it, other than Danielle's like, you guys just team up or whatever. Like Robert's very eloquent when he speaks.
He did so good.
So Carl says there's just been a lot of tension between Lindsay and Danielle. And Robert says like we want them to be happy, right? Like Robert and Danielle root for their happiness, but it seems like now they're just two people that got engaged that they like knew at one time. And so this sets it is true, right? And those are his valid feelings. Carl though is like, I don't know, I need a break, which I get when you're upset you need to walk away, but also this angered me because like this is a very adult conversation and Robert's not coming at you. No. He's kind of laying out like,
but this is the first time I think it's actually been addressed on camera in a sense that this friendship is no longer a thing. And I think I don't know what's happening behind the scenes with Carl and Lindsay, but I don't think them actually being confronted with this type of comment and like Carl not having Lindsay right by him to like confront this type of comment, it was what makes him walk away.
I also think is it wrong to say he doesn't have an issue? He's trying to fight Lindsay's battle.
Yes.
And like
he doesn't want to respond to this comment without Lindsay there, because last time he responded to comments with Danielle, he got
mad. Yup.
I'm curious how this is going to wrap up next episode.
He gets up, he walks away. Robert is not mad. He's just sitting there. So, Carl though is livid. This man,
I was shocked.
Fight. I know, because I didn't think it was that bad.
I thought it was going to get argumentative because we know Carl walked away because of like previews and stuff. I'm so shocked at constantly this season on Summer House, we get like previews and then they happen and I'm like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah. So Danielle goes over to Robert and, Robert's just hurt that like, we can't figure out how to be happy. Like like how it can be appropriate to like handle this conversation,
Yeah.
right? Like he's frustrated. Kyle goes after Carl, and Carl does that like, I just need a minute, no cameras, and then like flicks off the camera. He's like, no cameras, get away from me. And I was
Oh
like,
my
bro, you're
God.
filming a TV, like you can't
Stop.
hide from the
No,
cameras.
that's
They're
not
always
cool.
listening to you. They know where you
Yep.
go. Like,
Yep.
and then we get a to be continued, and I think the next episode will be the season finale.
Will it? I did again, I didn't feel like I don't feel like there's gonna be anything else we really get for
we
this
have
to
to
be
finish
to be
off the
continued.
weekend.
No, yes, but like a to be continued. Like I was shocked we got those words rather than just next time on the season finale.
I am too. I'm over these to be continued. Like, what are you going to show me? Unless there's a physical fight, I don't really give a fuck what's to be continued.
That's the thing. Unless the fight truly continues, and this isn't even a fight.
You know what's going to happen is Kyle's going to calm Carl down. Danielle and Robert are going to talk. Lindsay's not going to confront Danielle. No one's going to say anything. It's going to be awkward. They're going to go home. They're going to get drunk. Paige and Craig might have some drunk sex, and that's it. That's like all that's going to happen.
It's
Corey shows up, he does a dinner,
yeah,
and then they literally just maybe sit down and go like, so we're not friends, okay, and then they walk away and the summer's over. That's how it's gonna fucking end, and it's gonna enrage
oh
me.
they go on a boat tomorrow or on Saturday, but like that's it.
You know what would make me more mad is if we had 2 episodes more of this stupid weekend.
do think we do.
Oh no,
because Summer House started 1 week after Vanderpump, and I don't think they're ending on the same week.
Oh my God.
I think we have 2 more episodes because I think we're gonna get
what Vanderpump. Oh, you're right.
No, because it's Vanderpump ends next week. Like we don't know about Summer House, but it's Labor Day weekend. We still have technically 3 more days, and I think the season's gonna end with Danielle and Lindsay confronting things on Sunday of Labor Day or a Monday.
Ah. Fuck me. It's not necessary.
Exactly. 3 episodes for 1 weekend. They would have. This is not a good enough to be continued. They would have just done next week or on the season finale if it was the season finale.
You're right.
But they're trying to like lead us on into why this needed an extra episode. And
the worst part is we know they're not friends. And we know they're not going to be friends. So just like let us see the breakup and get back. We know Danielle and Robert break up. We know shit. And it's not interesting enough for me to be like, I have to see it play out. Like a divorce on Vanderpump Rules. That's and like a hookup at a wedding and then a scandal. Yeah. That's big enough for me to tune in. Yeah. This isn't. This is, if anything, it saddens me because the whole show's core is done. It's like
this really, in my mind, semi mirrors the Hannah Burner reunion where like Kyle was telling her like, we are not friends, so this doesn't work unless we're friends. Like I'm getting similar like notes of that, of like, this isn't gonna work because you guys aren't friends.
And that was a frustrating season. That was the COVID season, and it was so frustrating. And we were like, we never want them to do this real world, like live in a house shit ever again. And now I don't want this either. If we're not going to be the best of friends and fucking talk about it, I don't want it.
And party together.
And
either that baby. Or like truly make two, like there needs to be a massive divide where it's 2 people who've always hated each other can fight, or like it needs to be little tiffs and you actually have to talk it out on Sunday.
Yeah, literally anything. Okay, let's do fun, not fun. This whole season's not fun. I want to not fun the world.
I know.
Should we? Let's end on the high notes. Let's do not fun first. Who's your not fun?
It's Danielle. I'm sorry. She ruined the engagement. That's just not cool.
That was such bullshit. I'm just gonna spread the hate. I'm gonna go with Carl because he just didn't tell like 9 people. He told everyone else. It's not a good enough excuse. Also, we're having an adult conversation. We're literally almost 40. Don't walk away.
I know.
Just deal with it.
I know.
It's fine. Danielle fucked up. Carl fucked up. Maybe they should be in a relationship.
Oh, don't say that. That'll really fire Lindsay up. All right. Who do you think's fun then?
I'm going to go with Kyle.
I thought you were going to pick him, so I like that choice a lot.
Yes, I'm going to go. Actually, I wasn't going to pick him until we said, like, he's actually being a really good friend.
I know.
You saw the light spark in me. And you were like, oh,
I had that same moment, and I was like, but I have someone else, so
Okay.
that's why I wanted you to go first.
I think Kyle is being a really good friend to Carl. I think he's being a good friend to Danielle. I think he's trying to explain things to Carl in a way that Carl won't take offensively.
Yeah.
I think he's
but
also
could help. Like,
it could help. He's trying to help because I think Kyle knows at this core this house needs to be friends. If anyone has understood this show, it is Kyle.
Yes.
He knows the dynamics. He knows what needs to be done. He is basically a producer at this point because he knows what needs to happen. And I think he knows that people don't want to see this. And there have been a lot of hate towards Lindsay and Carl being on the show. There's now being a lot of hate towards Danielle. He knows that like he's going to be the last OG standing if this continues.
Yeah.
So I think he's trying to fix it.
And I think he truly does like value like long-term friendships.
I think he values the OGs too, right? And let's include Danielle in that. Like the four of them have always kind of been a solid old people crew, if you will.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Also, though, he was really great with Amanda and like supporting her in her journey, and I really liked that.
I agree.
Okay, who's yours?
I'm picking Robert. I get
happy
shows up on the scene. I'm already pumped, but I think he had Danielle's back so good without making this like a fight. But he was just so eloquent the way he spoke about this.
Agreed.
Like, I want him
job.
in my corner at all times.
If I don't know what happened between him and Danielle,
I don't know, and I'm sad.
I hope he wasn't a douchebag because I would love to date someone like Robert.
I really think it's just her needs weren't being met. She couldn't continue,
which is fair. That's very fair.
But at the same time, that's his life. Like,
yeah, you got to be ready. Okay, so we have some thoughts. Okay, so we start out with Katie. Danielle's behavior in this episode is absolutely ludicrous.
It is.
Her saying prior to the party that she doesn't want to see any of them again. Are you kidding me? Sorry, guys. I'm 100% Team Lindsay now. Don't be sorry. I fucking love Team Lindsay. So this has just really rubbed me the wrong way. On a lighter note, the daddy I'm engaged had me in literal tears. I'm so happy for Lindsay. Me too. So happy for her. Kelsey said, guys, Danielle's behavior is selfish. At this point, it doesn't get to be about her. She was aware that they were going to be getting engaged soon.
Yeah.
When her and Carl were chatting, they were presumably in a good place, and she didn't ask for any more information about when or where or if he needed any support with the impending engagement. You know what homegirl did? She screamed into a fucking pillow. Zero question in my mind that is the moment I'm Team Lindsay. That's true. I would have been like, where, what, when, who, why, what's happening. I would have wanted all the info.
I know.
That's a good point. I never thought about how
I don't think she wanted the info.
And that's on fucking her. Her behavior was insane. I still can't get over that. She knew she was being filmed. Like, we got to be smarter. You're not dumb.
I know. And like the way she reacted when Maya mentioned her maybe getting engaged was the worst part.
Horrible.
Like, Danielle should have been like, yeah, actually, I know that because Carl told me he's looking at rings.
It is so hard because I understand her feelings, but I hate her actions.
Me too. I wish, like, to the Maya conversation last episode, I wish she would have been like, I'll just be really upset
if I don't know.
Yeah, if our friendship is so fractured that I'm not a part of this.
Yeah.
That's the road she needed to take. It's like, I'm so upset our friendship is in such a bad place that we don't get to do this together.
Agreed. Tyranny said, one thing I want to add to this, I could not believe Danielle went around to all the friends. Oh, I know that Carl had surprised Lindsay and asked when they found out. I was also annoyed by Maya just sitting there all smug when Danielle was going around to the friends. I loved Maya last season, but don't like her this season. I agree. She should have gotten up and told Danielle to shut her fucking mouth.
I know.
Immediately.
No, like I'm not the Lindsay Stan group, but I would even insert myself into that and be like, Danielle, no. I think on the car ride over, I'd be like, hey, girly,
shut it down.
Yeah.
I do, however, love Gabby, Sam, and Corey. They all better be back next season because they are bringing the fun. Plus, I agree that Sam and Corey are the future of the show. I'm honestly ready for the season to be over. I need the reunion. Agreed. Listen, add Chris to that as like a backup for Corey, and I think you got your core four. We don't need this Kyle, Lindsay, Carl, Danielle situation. We got our core four.
Kyle can be like the house mom, like in a sorority house.
Kyle
Somebody who just like is there and like
the sorority mom. That's awesome. Tonette said Danielle's heart is shattered. Danielle could have maybe should have handled this engagement better, but we aren't our best when we are gut punched. We're only human. This shows how much she loves Lindsay and Carl and how much her feelings are hurt. It's easy to shame from our couches, but being in the moment with feelings is a totally different story. I agree. That's why I think her processing,
her
I
at the
understand.
house, good.
Fine.
Like fine, we can move
Fine.
past that.
It's the engagement party. Shut up. And then the next morning you should say something because you know this is going to be taped. You know they're going to watch it and you have to know their friends are going to say something to them.
Yep.
So like get above it, be like,
and you know if you like go talk to Carl, because to be honest, it's Carl. Like that's who you kind of have to like have the conversation with. He's the one who clearly planned it.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a conversation with Carl, it's gonna make air. So like that's where you go on, just like Robert did, and say, hey, I really love you guys and I'm really happy for you. No matter what comments have been said this summer, like I love you no matter what.
Agreed.
I'm there for you. Yeah. But I'm just really shocked. I thought we were better friends.
Yeah. Tonette also says Robert's voice was never raised. His words were so direct and eloquent. I appreciate him having Danielle's back. I feel Carl thinks differently than Lindsay on Danielle, and yeah, he's afraid to piss her off. He spoke better with Danielle than with Robert because I feel he agrees with Danielle and Robert, but can't say that. I understand it's an unpopular opinion, but I give zero fucks. I'm straight team Danielle. Listen,
that is weirdly, the exact same opinion I just said earlier.
That's what like, you just said.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm weirdly in the middle of this. For all seasons, I've been team both of these girls. Yeah. And I can't pick one because as the friend, I understand where Danielle is coming from. And like Meredith said, I don't think I could have a friendship with a couple like this. But also Danielle's actions are just so off-putting.
Yeah. It's so complex because I've had friendship breakups. This triggers my pain of a friendship breakup. And that's why Danielle gets so much of my heart in these moments. Cause I can see how in pain she is, but yeah, we just don't agree with how she's going about it. But
Tonette's right? Like we can judge her on from our couches. Yeah. Yeah. But like, I don't know. I've probably reacted in bad situations too.
I'm so thankful when I had a friendship breakup, they weren't also getting engaged. So I didn't have to like fake
or filming.
Be happy for them.
Or filming. You don't have to relive it.
I just got to like dip out and go to therapy.
Yeah. I just cry in my room by myself. So Lauren says, I have sympathized with Danielle all season, even though I can acknowledge that the whole thing is complicated. Her behavior after the engagement party was childish, but driven by all the hurt that she carried over the summer. Not appropriate at all, though. If I were her, I would have been upset that Carl hadn't said something, especially after all of her other friends clearly had been told. Yes. So that and their travel needs doesn't fully absolve Carl there. I agree. It's the travel. Whatever. So all that being said, I'm not sure that I could have told Danielle if I was Carl, given how the summer had gone. One would hope that the pending wedding would bring them back together like it did Katie and Stassi, but I don't see Lindsay agreeing to it. Yeah, but Stassi and Katie broke up and then
before the engagement. Engaged. The engagement wasn't the like straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. Lindsay and Danielle were in that awkward will we, won't we kind of like moment of like the end of a friendship, but they haven't broken up. So and also Stassi wasn't being filmed when she found out that Katie and Schwartz were getting engaged, and she didn't have to go to the engagement party.
Yeah, right like after.
She wasn't filmed with her bad reaction. Yeah, I bet you she was crying and going fuck this and fuck that and like really hurt. So I don't know. Anyway, Tonette says, so I'm watching Vanderpump Rules for the first time, and tonight I'm on season 5 with the Summer House crossover. Oh my God, what time? Christina is having the same conversation with Lindsay when they're clothes shopping for July 4th that Danielle had with Lindsay this whole summer about Lindsay not asking Christina questions about her life, and Lindsay being selfish.
Oh,
Like Christina that we hated. But I sent you a TikTok that was
you
like,
did
Lindsay did this to Christina.
in
Anyway,
season 1.
Neverett is
yikes.
talking rings and Christina is taken aback. Long story short, Lindsay dumped Christina for not being supportive of her relationship and never looked back. 7 years later, Lindsay has done the same to Danielle. Listen, Lindsay needs yes people in her corner. That's always
loyalty.
been her thing. It's always been it. And as a bystander who doesn't have to live with her and loves her chaotic shit for 7 years, I've said hell yeah to Lindsay Hubbard. Now, if I fucking lived with her, if I was Christina, I don't know. Because remember when she even brought interns and Christina was like, "Can you not?" And Lindsay's like, "You're not supportive of my career."
My new,
yes, this is a pattern. She's doing the same shit. It's no one can have a bad opinion. We know that about Lindsay. You can't do it.
I just can't wait for the reunion to see if there's any friendship therapy that Andy's about to work.
Do you think anyone is gonna? Okay, because how a reunion goes, right? I think the whole cast just kind of hates Lindsay in the sense that they're gonna kind of support Danielle. But I think the questions that are gonna come in are gonna attack Danielle. Do we think anything is gonna get to Lindsay?
But they don't just ask like what people submit, you know, like
true.
I really want them to ask Carl, like how he has that conversation with Danielle and can't get Lindsay to see it.
Is it weird? Hear me out. Do we think that Carl's kind of the problem?
Yeah, he is a major problem in this, in my perspective.
He's also being kind of like a yes person to Lindsay.
Yes, but the thing is, if Carl just told Danielle, I don't think Lindsay would erupt and be like, "I can't believe you told her we were getting engaged in 2 hours."
Yeah, here's my other thing, right? When he had the original conversation with Danielle where they were fine.
Yes.
And Lindsay got so mad. He didn't say like the next morning, he wasn't like, "Lindsay, we're going to talk about this." And like, "I'm okay with Danielle and you have to be okay with that." He was like, "If you're mad at Danielle, I'm mad at Danielle."
He's like we have problems with her.
There's no growth, right? The person you're dating to me should like
make you better,
push you. And I see it with my mom loves to hold grudges and be upset. And my dad is the one that's like, "No, that's not logical, right? Let's think about this." And makes her, but doesn't do in a way that attacks, is in a way that he's like, "I love you."
He helps walk her through the thought process that she might not be able to do on her own.
Yes. And Carl's not doing that. He's just like, "Lindsay wants to jump off this bridge. Me fucking too."
Yeah. And he's like, "And we won't talk about it ever again."
Yeah. And so
I think
weird.
he could connect these two if he really wanted it to happen.
He could have just told the whole fucking
yes.
That's the funniest part to me. Okay.
I don't think he needed to tell the whole house. I think he needed to mention it to Danielle before he left.
I agree. It's not good. This sucks. Anyway, so if this has taught me anything, it's that boys, whether you're dating them at 28 or 48, they're all gonna suck. Anyway, thank you so much for coming to our podcast.
Oh my God. Listen, the next 2 episodes are going to be a very chaotic along with the reunion.
Bleak out there. Be sure to do all the things. We also have this Vanderpump podcast that's going actually pretty well if you want to listen to that. Tonette's on the train because she's watching Vanderpump and we recommend it. So do all the things. Mostly follow us on Instagram because if there are any big major life updates, that's where you're going to find them. And some tweets, maybe.
Very true.
I'm going to see. I'll look at the tweets tonight and see what I find. Okay. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining. Bye.